Hello, and welcome to the Sploder Show, episode 16, or if you're on Official Sploder, episode 2. This is an episode I'm going to like to call Pre-EGD Week. Now, the basis behind this is that I've wanted to do an EGD episode of the Sploder Show, and I'll be trying to cover all the games. I know it's going to be a little hectic, seeing as, well, I'll let you know later. But, yeah, for EGD Week, I'm going to go over all the things before the event happens, and then EGD episode, I'm going to talk about it, what all did happen, and let you guys know. So, we have no ads today, and as always, we're proud to be broadcasting to you in high definition. So, let's get into some EGD news. We have, and this is just me counting here, as of June 15th, this is accurate, I checked the games entered list, we have over 100 plus entries. Wow. And I thought, like, EGD was huge, like, just over 100 entries? You kidding me? Obviously, there's lots of reasons over it, and I'll go into those later, but over 100 entries, that's freaking amazing. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how the reviewers plan to tackle all those games. It's even bigger than last year, so I remember them taking, like, till November or September, sometime around there, to finish the other ones, so this one's going to be a little longer. Next up, how collab games change the game. That was fun to say. Anyway, collaborations are one of the new additions to this year's EGD. You can team up with a person and make a game, as well as just have an individual game as well. So, how do you think collabs will change the game? Let us know in the comments, and if you think the collaboration games are going to be better than, just ones on their own, let me know, or, just leave a comment there. It'd be awesome. And recruiting for EGD positions starts today. If you want to be a judge or reviewer or editor or just whatever, recruiting for those positions start today. You want to get all that in order first and make sure you have a spot in judging. I know everybody wanted to be a judge last year. It's probably even bigger now, but yeah, they're recruiting for those positions today. So not only do we have collaboration games joining this year's EGD, but we also have arcade games, and that's another big issue. Another big reason to why the entry count is so high. We have another category to enter. I mean, we already had platformer, shooter, algorithm, crew, if you even want to count the robot game, whatever. Now we have arcade, and now we have collaboration games, and this is one of the ways why we have over 100 entries. If you think arcade games are going to change EGD, Jesus. If you think arcade games are going to change EGD this year, let me know in the comments too, when you can add it on to collaboration games. So, yeah. Alright, let's go over all the awards that will be given this year. We have Best Overall Game, the one everyone's going to be looking forward to, probably going to be announced last. Top 5 games, this is second place, third, fourth, fifth, all that biz. Top 3, and this is for each individual category, they'll come out at separate times. Arcade, platformer, shooter, algorithm, crew, and PPG. So, they'll each probably come out on their own night. You'll have to watch out. But yeah, those are also getting awards too. Best collaboration for the new collab category. So, that looks awesome. Best of the rest. Maybe that's the best overall. That's kind of confusing how they have those two awards now that I think about it. And then finally, the public favorite, the one which everyone's going to get to vote on. That one's going to be interesting, because it might not just be the best game, it's just what everyone thinks is the best game. So, yeah. Let's move on to some other EGD news. Ravi has an EGD poster design thread, and you can go ahead and check that out. It's looking pretty awesome. And Liam Knight, along with adding the EGD category, has now added EGD 7 He's working, getting people to sign up for the trailer, and a Tiny Chat Party, which is being awesome. The trailer is going to be made by the Sploder video crew, so you can go ahead and check that out once it's out. Anyway, finally, let's just go over some final statistics here. We have, and this is just counting of now, June 15th. If it changes later, well then, it changes, so don't blame me. As of now, we have 18 arcade games, 49 platformer games, 13 PPG games, 12 shooter games, 3 algorithm crew, figured, 3 collaboration games, all 3 looking really exciting, and 65 hype threads. So those are your EGD stats so far. Keep watching until the final EGD episode, where I'll go over the stats again. So that's all for the news today. I know that was kind of lengthy. This episode might be lengthy. But coming up next, we have an interview with Alone and my final thought about the mysterious thing we know as inspiration. And for the games, I'll just be going over some EGD games. So, yeah. Hope you're looking forward to that. This is Math Aid 2, heading to the next segment. Hello, and now we're on to the games portion of Pre-EGD Week. We're going to be taking a look at some of the games that at least had a demo. We're going to check out 3 today. This first one is called Flashback. It's in the Arcade Creator, and this one reminds me a lot of Cythera, featuring mostly gameplay sections in it, focusing less on narrative, which is what I like. A game should most importantly fix on gameplay, not so much narrative. And this game does succeed at what it does. It looks nice, it always keeps your interest, and even throws in a new few ideas that I haven't seen much. It really is interesting, and you're constantly going to be doing something, and you're constantly going to be invested. I don't know how much they're focusing on narrative on this one, but to be honest, I could care less. This game plays great, and it's definitely going to be the ones I'm looking forward to. Flashback. Now up next, we have a PPG game. This one's called Psychic Warfare. It's a definitely interesting one. You have been captured and turned into a circle, and your physical body is captured, but you have this unique ability to control your mental mind. Controlling your mind, you go around solving puzzles for the government and hopefully try to escape. This game's pretty fun. It features a lot of puzzles, and it requires more common sense than it does gamer sense. However, the puzzles that they do have, at least in the first level, are very intriguing and are very fun and just awesome in general. I like the concept of this one especially. I mean, controlling your mind, that sounds awesome. Now, unfortunately, the graphics aren't quite up to par with the unique concepts, but the puzzles and the gameplay, and heck, just the idea alone is enough to make this one interesting for me. Psychic Warfare by Transcendent? I don't know. Anyway, I'll be checking it out, and I'm very excited. And the final game that we have is called The Dwelling. You play as a dweller whose mission is to save the world or something like that. And this game, also in the Arcade Creator, features a more narrative approach, which means you're going to be doing a lot of talking, a lot of walking. Your interests are bored, you're bored out of your mind, you want to do something. I don't necessarily hate these kind of games, but I figure a game should figure more on its gameplay rather than just a narrative, you know? I mentioned this before. So while this isn't bad per se, it just features a lot more narrative. The locations are nice, and when it finally does get to a gameplay section in there, they're also really done. They're really done too. They're awesome. So, while I don't think it's going to be the best arcade game out there, it's definitely going to be one of the best. The Dwelling. I'm definitely hyped for it. Anyway, coming up next is the interview part of the show. Hello, and welcome to the interview part of the show. Today I sat down with Lone 6 and asked him a few questions, so let's go over them. What are your thoughts on adding collabs to EGD? He says, I think it's a good idea. It allows people to make 2 games at once. Cool. Then I asked him, speaking of EGD, which game are you most hyped for? Doppelganger. Been hearing a lot about that. Then I asked, any new projects you want to tell me about? He says, yes, The Conquest, a civilization building RPG. Sounds good. Then I asked if he could promote or demo anyone, who would it be and why? He says, Minjays, Red, Level, and Level O to Soldier. I find them mature. Luigi to War Veteran, and possibly me to General. Then I asked, what's your favorite creator and why? He says, I like Plat or Shooter. I like the simpleness of the shooter, and it's easy to make games with. However, the Plat allows for many blocks and much less lag and more RPG elements. I agree. Then I asked, what kind of game do you think will win EGD? He says, probably arcade. Then finally asked him, do you look up to anyone on Sploder? He says, mostly Lieutenants and Jamie along with Liam. So, that was my interview with Lone 6. Thanks for being on the spot. Had to ask for this interview. And yeah, he's pretty awesome. Coming up next is my final thought, so stick around. Hello, and welcome to Math Aid's Final Thought. So, as it is time to wrap up pre-EGD episode, I figured for anyone looking for inspiration, I would talk about inspiration. I have a whole sheet here, and hope it gets you thinking about the subject. Inspiration. It's a glorious thing. It comes from the depths of boring, everyday tasks and otherwise dull moments in our lives. But when it does show itself, it's a glorious spark of creativity and has the power to brighten up days or to motivate teams. But why is this? Why is it that this rare human occurrence has the willpower to turn any situation around? Why is it that we can be awestruck by something that we didn't expect? Maybe it's because inspiration is a sign of hope or magic in our otherwise very dark and dull world. Maybe it's the fact we see something in inspiration that changes our outlook on humanity. We're no longer mean brutes or savages, but rather bringers of innovation and peace. When we come across inspiration, we're sort of in a trance or awestruck by what we just saw. Usually people get in these trances when a disaster happens or something scary appears. But somehow inspiration turns that trance into a happy trance, amazed by what you just saw or heard. Inspiration comes from all places, even from ones we never expect. That's why it's so powerful. There are the obvious occurrences of inspiration from things like childbirth or a beautiful comet that passes by. But what about the more unexpected occurrences? Like a homeless man giving to a charity, or a really shady guy saving the life of a child. These moments impact us more, mostly because they're so obscure or rare. You would never believe these things unless you saw it yourself, and they demonstrate that the best parts of the human experience. It shows that no matter what world we live in, or the sometimes horrible people and things in it, we are all still human. And we all have compassion and hope vested into us. This is why inspiration is amazing. This is why countless artists and people search for it. I believe you can find inspiration anywhere, but only when you least expect it, and to me, that's what makes inspiration so beautiful. So yeah, that's my final thought. I hope that gets you guys inspired, and hope it leads to you making some great EGD games. If you want to leave a comment or whatever, I'm looking for feedback, so let me know. Anyway, this is Math Aid 2 signing off. Bye.